Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening all. In this opportunity, I will flash a presentation about Android-based game and blended learning in social science effect on student achievement. My scope is computer science education. My name is Elvani Hertati, as author and presenter and master student of educational technology at Merit University. And my partner in this research is Professor Dr. Asrowi, MPD, and Dr. Denitri Ardianto, SSN, MA from Department Educational Technology at Merit University. Well, I'm going to present my paper into four parts: introduction, method, result, and discussion, and the last conclusion. Okay, first the introduction. Advances in science and technology have improved the quality of education. One of the technological developments to facilitate learning is as a learning medium in social science learning. Social studies subjects in elementary school are the embodiment of an interdisciplinary approach to social science lesson. Social studies subjects have very broad characteristics and material coverage, so teachers need special determination and strategy. The fact is that teachers have applied various methods, but the conditions for learning are effective, active, creative, and fun is still far from expectation and average student learning outcome, which one which on average are still below the minimum completeness criteria (KKM) determined by the school. Based on the daily test data for semester 1, students of class 5 social study at the Muntilan State Elementary School for the 2020-2021 academic year, it showed that 83% of 58 students still get score below the minimum completeness criteria. The KKM is 73. In general, student difficulty in learning social study are caused by a wide range of material. The learning model imposed by the teacher is flawed and has a low level of student interest in reading. One of the social studies subjects that are considered difficult is the history of Indonesia, because the material is large and wide over a long period of time, and it's difficult to relate to the real life of students. Based on the problem, the way the author used educational game media and blended learning in this research. Educational games can be used as innovative media in the social study learning process. The application of digital game for education is widely believed to stimulate internal motivation and interest among students, as well as improve learning achievement and improve learning attitudes. Many researchers and practitioners believe that game-based learning can facilitate the development of 21st century skills, generally defined as critical thinking, creative collaboration, and communication. Android-based games make it easy for students to learn anytime and anywhere because they consist of competency mastered by students during the learning process, material summaries, and exercises that are packaged in the form of games. Because students can learn teaching material in an interesting way, it helps improve student achievement. And educational game media will be used better when they applied with blended learning, because technology direct learning not always through face-to-face learning, but through online learning. However, online and face-to-face learning have their respective advantage and disadvantage. So it is better for the two learning to be combined, which is called blended learning. Blended learning system combine face-to-face instruction with computer media instruction and include offline or online content learning and web-based learning. The blended learning approach is considered more effective and significantly improves student performance so that the learning process more effective, take up less flexible so that it can improve student learning outcomes in social study learning. Okay, the next method. The type of research used by the researchers is a quasi-experimental, quantitative research with a non-equivalent control group design. In the study, the dependent variable is learning achievement, Y, and the independent variable is the use of Android-based game media with blended learning, X. The subject in the study were 58 fifth-grade students of Muntilan State Elementary School. The reason for choosing the subject is to get as much information as possible from various sources. Thus, the data obtained can be used to formulate difference in the effectiveness of groups that apply Android-based educational game with blended learning and groups that use PowerPoint with face-to-face learning. The subject-specific criteria in the study are schools that have implemented the 2013 curriculum and all students have Android. The data collection technique used by the researchers in the study was the interview and test method. The data analysis technique used in this research is comparative data analysis. Comparative data analysis is used to analyze the data in the definitive study. Comparative hypothesis testing means testing the participation parameter that make up the difference regarding the result of data analysis based on post-test results, which are used to determine the difference in the effectiveness of Android-based educational games with blended learning in the field. Testing the data using SPSS 22 software for Windows to test for normality using the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, the test for homogeneity using the Leibniz statistic, and test for hypothesis using the T-independent sample. Okay, next result and discussion. Student assessment. The normality test used aims to determine whether the data sample in the study comes from a population that is normally distributed or not. Based on the result present in the table, the value of significance is 0.170 is greater than 0.05. Then H0 is accepted and HA is rejected. So it can be concluded that the sample data in the study come from a normally distributed population. And the next, the homogeneity test was used to determine whether the two groups in the study had the same variance or not. Based on the result of testing, the value of significance based on the mean is 0.618, greater than of 0.05. The H0 is accepted and HA is rejected. So it can be concluded that both the group that applies the Android-based educational game with blended learning and the group that use PowerPoint with face-to-face learning in the study did not have different variants. The t-test, independent sample t-test, was carried out with the assumption that the data came from a normally distributed population. Based on the test result, the value of significance to Thailand is 0.000, is smaller than of 0.05. then HNL is rejected and HA is accepted. So it can be concluded that there are differences in the effectiveness of groups that apply Android-based educational games with blended learning and groups that use PowerPoint with face-to-face learning. Okay, in the study, an Android-based educational game with blended learning is more effective and facilitates students to learn independently so as to improve learning achievement. This can be seen from the learning outcome, namely the post-test obtained by students. The results obtained in the study have similarity with the research conducted by Handi Darmawan, Nawawi, and Guido 2018 with the title Development of Physics Word Adventure while students after using Physics Word Adventure. The study aims to determine the learn outcome of junior high school students after using Physics Word Adventure. Based on the results, for the trials, in general, students gave a good response with a score of 81.40%, good criteria. And student learning outcomes got a complete percentage of 57.15%. The Android-based educational game in this study is the Bobby game, the Bobby series History of Indonesia. This game is an adventure game. Students have a mission to find treasure, which is then direct to the question sheet to get grades. The application of educational game with blended learning is a very effective and affects student learning outcome because the use of educational game with blended learning can increase student learning motivation and make students understand the material easier. Motivation to learn in the learning process is an important factor in determining the success of learning process. Without, without the motivation and interest of students to learn, independent learning is difficult to carry out. Android based education games are effective for stimulating students to think and develop cognitive skills and can motivate students better because of interesting animation. There are missions that make students curious to complete the game. As previous research by Handy et al. Also explained that superior features need to be present in educational games, such as game level with great difficulty based on the category of questions presented at each level, which are presented in adventure quests that are because the number of questions that can be solved by each student in each level determines whether the student is game over or won the game. Failure experienced by students will cause students to be motivated to continue playing and finish the game until it is finished. Therefore, those key elements give students a sense of control and produce learning-oriented behavior to improve learning achievement. Meanwhile, blended learning is an effective integration between face-to-face learning, traditional, and internet technology learning, so that learning becomes more efficient and flexible. This method is considered good to be applied in the 21st century because it combines traditional learning activity with technology-based learning and is considered effective because the learning process carried out by students is not limited by space and time. Okay, the last is conclusion. Based on the result of research data analysis, the conclusion in this study is that there is a significant effect of Android-based educational games and blended learning to improve student achievement. The use of Android-based educational game media is better in blended learning than face-to-face learning with PowerPoint. Considering the result of this study, it is recommended to implement Android-based game and blended learning with various samples, namely students will live in rural and urban areas. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. If you any question, you can to write at the comment. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye.